Hiya, me again. Just filming another video. Probably gonna have two back-to-back videos today. Um, this is gonna be like my little Christmas roundup kind of video. Just to show you what I've been watching Christmas-wise over November. I forgot what month is it. Like we're in December, but over November because it's December 1st today. But yeah, so a lot of it has been Hallmark Christmas movies, and they're probably some of the most awful films I've ever watched in my life. They're not going to win an Oscar or anything, but I love them. I think they're great because you know what's going to happen. Let's be honest. They all end with a kiss. They're all rom-coms, but I feel like we don't get many rom-coms anymore, or at least ones that are decent. And I think that's what I quite like about them. There's a lot. It's predictable, but the journey of a rom-com is the whole fun of it. It's not how you got to the end. It's how you got to the end, not what happens at the end for a rom-com. So it's good. It's good fun. A lot of these are on Christmas 24, which is a TV channel out in the UK, but they're actually Hallmark films. But there is a few that are on Netflix that we'll talk about later on in the video as well, so you can skip near the end because yeah, there's quite a lot to talk about. But yeah, they're still repeating themselves on Christmas 24 or Movies 24 if your TV hasn't updated. But yeah, they're good fun. I did also watch After Christmas for the first time. That was on Netflix. I liked the second half. The first half I thought was quite boring, but I put it on just because I was like, well, my son might like this, and he weren't interested until near the end either. So yeah, so basically, I'm not going to talk about After Christmas because there's so many other things to talk about. It's alright. So, here we go. So most of these Christmas 24 films are the 2021s, but there's a couple mixed in from 2019, 2018, I think. I haven't got the years written down, but I kind of know what ones are the new ones and what ones are the old ones. So the first one I watched, I actually got quite invested in this one, actually. And this one, this is a Hallmark one, and it's called Holly and Ivy. So this one's actually got the lady that plays Mona from Pretty Little Lies in it. She's the main character. And it's good to see her in something else because I don't think I've seen her in anything else. I think maybe she did the Bratz movie years ago. That might have been someone else. I don't know. And I don't remember the Bratz movie, really. Let's be honest. But yeah, Holly and Ivy is basically about this girl, which is Mona from Pretty Little Liars. I can't remember their names. I'm really bad. But basically, she moves into a new house in this new town, which doesn't know anyone, and she meets a neighbour, and she gets on really well with her, and finds out that her neighbour is really ill, and she's got no one to take her kids when she dies. So the whole thing is about her getting to know the kids. But meanwhile, while this is happening, she gets a love interest as well of this guy he's from Supergirl. I can't remember his name. But he's the one who's like friends with Supergirl, and then he leaves for a little bit to go to the future, and then his dad's the toy master. So yeah, he's back at the moment where I am in Supergirl, but yeah, so he's the love interest as well, and I think they actually had pretty decent chemistry on screen as well. But as you know, with all these Hallmark films, they don't get along, and then they do, and then they don't. Yeah. But it was a fun little film. I watched it in like 3 different segments. A lot of these I pause and come back to them later. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one. It's definitely worth a watch. And all these films are family friendly as well. So if you just want something on in the background, it's perfect because you don't need a lot of attention to follow it along, basically. So that was really good. The next one I watched was called One Royal Holiday. And they all have dodgy names, these films. They all do. So this one, I didn't know any of the cast. I actually looked them up, and I think they're mainly like Broadway, West End kind of actors. So I didn't know them. I wanted to find out. Basically, the reason I looked that up, because I usually only really look it up if I recognise them, but the main guy who's the prince, which I'll go through the plot in a second, but the prince has a really dodgy English accent. Like, it's really, really bad. So I looked it up to find out if he actually was English. He's not English. Anyway, One Royal Holiday is basically about this like royal family that kind of gets sidetracked on their way home, and there's like delays on the airport, so they run into this nurse who is going back home for Christmas with her family. Her family owns like a inn holiday kind of thing, like a little hotel. So the royal family goes with her and she gets them a place to stay, and their flights and that keep getting delayed, so they don't get a chance to get home, and the prince falls in love with the nurse. There's actually a few little, not twists, but nice little kind of plot points where you're like, oh, that's cool, like that kind of goes on with it. I'm not going to spoil it in case anyone is going to go watch it, but these are all getting replayed on Christmas 24 at the moment, so definitely look up for them. This one was a new one for this year as well. Yeah, it was good. So the next one, this one isn't a Hallmark, I think. I think it's is it Lifetime? It's Lifetime or Sony or something like that. But they're playing it on Christmas 24. A Crafty Christmas Romance. I enjoyed this one. I got really invested. I just realised I keep going off screen like that. I got really invested. So this one is a lady. I think the title for this film is awful and doesn't really go with anything. But yeah, so it's about a lady who owns a craft shop, and that is the only thing of crafts it's really got to do with it. She owns a craft shop. This book comes into this book drive thing that she volunteers for, and she opens it up, and there's a letter to Father Christmas with this like expensive coin that she gets priced up. It's quite expensive, so she takes it back to the church, where she runs into this person who's doing like building work for the church. Asks him about it, and he's like, I have no idea, but he likes her, so he follows her, and they go and try and find who the book belongs to. I quite like this one, just for the pure fact that you didn't know who it belonged to, and there was a bigger plot than their romance, even though they fell in love during it. And I really enjoyed that, because there was a lot of turns where they got to dead ends and things like that. So that I did like that one. I got quite invested in that one. That was quite good. So the next one I watched was called The Christmas Temp. I did miss the first like 15 minutes of this, but I did get really invested. Like, I weren't even going to watch it. I sat down and I'd missed the first 15 minutes, and I just started watching it. And then, you know, like when you got to go do other things and you're like, oh, but I really want to know what happens. So you pause the TV, go, and then you keep coming back. That was what happened with me for this one. So basically, The Christmas Temp was, it's a hotel. And there's always some kind of hotel when someone's a photographer or an artist, or they've fallen out of love with their art. It's always one of them. But yeah, she's basically a struggling artist who gets hired by this hotel to build this Christmas scenery kind of thing for the hotel for its grand opening. And there's like a fancy artist coming along, and yeah. I think I just like this because of the actors that are in it. So you've got the main guy who was from Sanctuary, and you had, was it Aunt Jenna? Aunt Jenna from Vampire Diaries. She was from Vampire Diaries anyway, in the first few seasons. So I think I got a bit invested because I knew both of the actors, and I just wanted to know what happened between them. It wasn't a badly acted one either. I think that one was from like 2018, 2019. But yeah, I did enjoy watching that one. So next one, I'm not too sure on the title because Virgin's different to what it says on Google. On Virgin it was called On the 12th Day of Christmas, but Google is On the 12th Date of Christmas. But I liked this one. I got quite invested in it, and it made me want to find an app like it. I did go on the App Store, not gonna lie. I didn't really find anything, but basically it's about these two app developers, and they have to work together because his partner's just gone on maternity leave with his wife because they're having a baby, paternity leave rather, and so she's been roped into this and this job, and they basically have to create this scavenger hunt app for this new hotel that's opening. And basically the end of the scavenger hunt has to go to the hotel, and basically it's for couples and it's romantic, so they have to go on these like mini dates throughout the city, and then end up at the hotel. And basically while developing this app, they end up on these mini dates where they're trying them out kind of thing. And it's quite a cute movie, and yeah, you believe the two actors, I think their chemistry is quite good as well, so because some of these movies they don't. So yeah, I did really enjoy that one. Definitely check that one out if you've seen it. So the next one, wasn't very impressed with this one, didn't think it was that great. The concept's really cute though, I think. So this one was called Meet Me at Christmas. So this one's got the lady. I haven't actually watched The Good Witch, but I know it's her. So I think she's the witch in The Good Witch. She's the main character. I don't know, but yeah, she's in it because I was watching it like I recognise her. But yeah, basically it's about this woman who she's had to all of a sudden organise her son's wedding. So they all go to her son's wedding. The wedding planner's cancelled. So she's got to do the last minute plannings for the whole week, and ends up teaming up with the bride's uncle. And then basically the whole thing turns out that they met years ago. Yeah, the concept's really good, but I feel like everything was revealed within the first like 30 minutes, but I feel like it could have like not. I feel like it could have dragged out a little bit longer. So once it was all revealed, you're a bit like, well, where are we going now? And there was just a lot of, oh, we're friends, now we're not. Yeah, we're friends, now we're not. So, yeah. The next one was an old one. I put this on record because I was like, the name, the title, it's just weird. So it's called A Shoe Addict's Christmas. It's barely got anything to do with shoes, which I'm quite happy for. But it could have been something they could have, I think it's just a waste of a title. But basically, it's pretty much this woman accidentally gets locked in a department store. She's a photographer, of course, but she just works in a department store because her photography stuff hasn't taken off. She gets locked in, and her fairy godmother shows up and basically makes her put on a pair of shoes to go see her future and her past and things like that. So every time she puts on these pair of shoes, she can see her future or wherever the fairy godmother takes her. And that's the only reason why it's Shoe Addict's Christmas. I feel like it could have had a different name. But yeah, she ends up falling for the guy. And it's not a spoiler, it's just going to happen to all of them. But yeah, it's like a neighbour and they have to do this ball together because he's a fireman and like they're part of that department. And it made sense when I watched it. So the next one is called The Christmas House. I was extremely disappointed in this film. So I was really looking forward to this film because I'd read when I was looking up all the new Hallmark movies to see how many I needed to find on the TV because I don't think we get all of them. I read that this was the first Hallmark movie that's got a gay romance in it. So I was like, okay, so it's going to be a romance story. No, they're the side characters. And I was very upset about that. Because I was surprised as well that they were... I'm not in my pyjamas, by the way. They're Christmas leggings. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, it'll be different. It's exciting. And no. There was another main character who fell in love with his neighbour because they used to be magicians together. And them two characters had no chemistry on screen or anything, and I didn't care for their story. There wasn't much going on. I was just a bit disappointed. Like the other two storylines that were going on for the gay couple, they were waiting on an adoption. But you barely heard any of that until like they get the adoption, and the romance between the two parents that have called the two sons back to the house to do Christmas again. They had a better storyline as well, so I would have really preferred the couple to come home to help with the Christmas house and see the kind of the anxiousness between the gay couple of their adoption and the parents, like about their breakup in their marriage and wanting to get a new house. The other story was just slightly irrelevant. It was like, oh, his TV show's getting cancelled and he likes his old girlfriend, like, that he never actually asked out. So I would have much preferred something else for it, if that makes sense. But because of that, I weren't very invested in the film. There wasn't much going on. Instead of like two little tiny storylines that you want to know more about and one big storyline, I would have either preferred to make each storyline a bit bigger or scrap the main character altogether. And I feel like you could have had, because it had a lot of potential of really funny moments as well, and they didn't really pull through on it. But maybe I'm thinking about like big dramatic cinema films, like not big dramatic ones, but like cinema films that are like Daddy's Home 2, like it's very Christmassy. I feel like we could have got a lot of them moments, but obviously that's not the kind of film it is. Definitely watch it, because it's one of the ones that are quite special for the pure fact that it's got something new and it's breaking the boundaries. I mean, it's sad that it still has to be something that is breaking the boundaries, and it's got to 2020 and they still haven't done something like that. Obviously they have now, but it did disappoint me that they weren't the main characters and they weren't the main storyline. So hopefully we'll get something like that next year. I keep thinking someone's tapping on my window, but I've got lights and it's windy and they tap on the door. So the next one was, how long have I been doing this for now? 15 minutes? Oh, that's not too bad. Next one is called Christmas in Vienna. So this one's got April Kepner from Grey's Anatomy in it, and I was excited to see her because I liked her in Grey's Anatomy. Her character became a bit irrelevant after a while, but you know. Anyway, it was alright. It's not the best one I've watched. You know, like when something's just there and you've got no opinion on it. It was that kind of thing. Like, the two actors had good chemistry. They had a cute meeting at the beginning. But I think they need to stop giving them, like, really fancy jobs. And I think they need something a little bit more, I don't know. It was a nice film. That was about it. I weren't majorly fussed by it. Anyway, the next one, A Nashville Christmas Carol. So I didn't like this when I watched it, but then thinking about it, I liked it. So it's actually got, I can't remember her name. She's from Pitch Perfect. She's the blonde one that's not Brittany Snow, and not Rebel Wilson. The other one, I can't remember her name. I'm sure you know who I mean. Anyway, she's basically she directs this big Nashville Christmas show, and her old friend was a TV producer, not a TV producer, a music manager, and basically they had an argument years ago, and they've just come back together, and they end up falling in love because they were in love with each other anyway. Of course. It's a Hallmark movie. Of course they are. But yeah, I didn't really like it because I think some of the acting is quite awful, but I'm wondering if they actually got some actual country singers that I don't know in it, which is why the acting was quite bad. Do you know what? Looking back at it, I quite enjoyed it. I did. Yeah, I haven't got much to say on it either. Like, I don't know if it's got to the point where I've watched too many, and nothing's like, I haven't got an opinion on anything anymore because I'm just watching them. The romance was nice. There wasn't too many. There was. Oh, I've lost my train of thought. The chemistry was good. That was it. But yeah, it wasn't. When I look back at it, I enjoy it though. I've enjoyed it. It's a decent one, but the acting's terrible. Not the main cast, but the side cast. Yeah, that's about it. So, these next 4 are on Netflix. But they're actually Hallmark or Lifetime movies anyway. So, the first one is called Christmas Made to Order. And this one's got Aaron Samuels from Mean Girls, who's also in The Christmas House. He's part of the gay couple, which is why I think I might have gone, oh, he's got to be main cast. That's their storyline. So I don't know. And it's also got the girl from, I can't remember her name for the life of me, the girl from Spy Kids, all grown up. And they're in this film together. And I actually really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this film. She basically wants to make a decorating company for like Christmas. He hates Christmas, and then his family surprise him and like, we're coming over for Christmas, and he hasn't got any decorations up, so he hires her. and she's basically their Christmas coordinator. She kind of falls into that, and yeah, they've got really good chemistry. I thought. Well, I didn't think their chemistry was that great actually, but I liked them two together. If that made sense. But it made it a fun film. They bounced off each other really well, so I did enjoy it, and that was a good fun film. So the next one was Christmas Wonderland. So this one's got Emily Osment in it, and she's playing an adult. I haven't seen her in anything since she was playing a teenager, like Hannah Montana, and she hasn't aged a day. Now I'm pretty sure me and her are like the same age, and obviously I'm an adult, I've got a house, I've got kids, you know, I'm married, so she is definitely old enough to do that. And I think because she looks so young, and I haven't seen her in anything since like Hannah Montana, I couldn't see her as an adult. So I'm watching this guy, and she's just babysitting these kids. She's not auntie, she's just playing babysitter, and I couldn't get it out of my head that she wasn't an adult. She was an adult. So yeah, but basically Christmas Wonderland, she ends up being part of the PTA for her niece and nephew's school dance, because her sister, which is their mum, has gone off on a business trip and couldn't get home, and ends up running into her old boyfriend, and they're still in love because it's a Hallmark movie. This one's actually getting played on Christmas 24 as well. I've seen it in the TV planner, so if you haven't got Netflix, it will be on there. I don't think this one was that great. It was just there. But yeah, it was there. It happened. You know. So the next one I watched was A Wish for Christmas. And I feel like I can barely remember this film. This one had Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls, and she does a lot of Hallmark movies. So she basically wishes for courage. Do you know what? I didn't mind this film. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's all come back to me now. So, this film, she basically goes to the Christmas party because her boss has like stolen her idea. They've announced it at the Christmas party and like, oh, well done, you've got this great idea and we're going to pitch it everywhere. So then she runs into Father Christmas, who gives her a wish for Christmas. Obviously she thinks it's just like a hired Santa. And she wishes for courage, and the wish only lasts for 48 hours. So she goes back into that party, blurts out what's happened with her boss. So then turns out her boss gets fired, but they still want to pitch her idea. So her other boss then says, right, you need to come with me to this meeting tomorrow, so we can pitch it. But in the space of 2 days, they're in love. But what gets me is they've barely spoken before. That's even mentioned at the beginning of the film. We've barely spoken before. And they end up at his family's house, because where they have to go is close to where he grew up. So he ends up at his family's house. They've known each other about 10 hours. They haven't even really been flirty or anything yet. And the guy's sitting at the dinner table making cookies with his family while she's gone somewhere else. And they're like, oh, so do you like her? You two seeing each other? And it's just like, okay. And then a few hours later, they're like, oh, we're into each other. And I'm just like, I know it's for the film's purpose, but it didn't, I feel like it didn't match up in the time scale for how much they was into each other at the end. But it wasn't a bad film. It was alright. And so the last one, I actually quite like this one. This was the My Christmas Inn, and one of the big things I really liked about this, so it's got Tia from Sister Sister. So Tia, I don't know how you say Maury, but it's got Tia in it. So her parents in this film are played by, I can't remember their names now, but it's Lisa and Ray from Sister Sister, and literally it's the best thing. It's the best thing ever. They're only in a couple of scenes, but it's great to see them, especially because I haven't, other than, I think the lady that plays Lisa, I think I've seen her in a few things, like here and there, but I haven't seen Ray in anything, so it's just really nice to kind of like see what happened. So yeah, that was really good. But basically she inherits this inn, and basically falls in love with a guy in the town and goes, this is where I want to be. But yeah, it's a cute little film. It's on Netflix. I think that one's going on Christmas 24 as well, but very cute film. I enjoyed it. It's got some fun moments. And it's a heartfelt one. I quite like that. But yeah, definitely check that one out. So, that is 25 minutes of me talking a load of rubbish. No one stuck around this. It's just me talking to myself. So, well done me. Hi. Yeah, so if you did enjoy it, give us a thumbs up. Comment below. What are the best ones that you've watched as well? So, I'll probably do another Christmas movie roundup. Like next week, maybe. Because there's a lot to go through. I'm working my way through it. Like, I've got a list on my phone of what ones there are. But I need to try and find them everywhere. There's a few more set on record. I'm halfway through one at the moment called A Time Is Christmas, and I'm really not sure on that one. Yeah. Enjoy it. And I'll see you later.